like all the things I do, like it takes effort. Like I'm just not an effortless girl, I'm an effortful girl. Hello lovely and wonderful people, it's Brie here. I haven't filmed a video in a while and I just like really wanted to film, mostly because I'm procrastinating finals. It is that time of the year, the academic year again. I know I want to do some more fashion videos because I find those like really fun and inspiring, but they take a lot of prep and cleaning. Two things I don't have the bandwidth to do right now. I was walking back with my lovely friend Sam and she gave me the great idea to kind of just record me talking about like winter, like what I'm looking forward to doing in the spring. So yeah, with that I kind of was like, why don't I do a thoughts escape me? I just wanted to film, I wanted to talk. I feel like I'm constantly the type of person who loves processing the things that I'm going through and love talking, and instead of talking my friends' ears off, I can talk to you guys because you guys are my friends. But honestly, mostly, most of you are my friends that I know in real life. My warning is if I'm looking and feeling twitchy, it's because I'm physically uncomfortable in my own skin. My back has really just been like flaring up and bugging me, but I haven't been able to see my PT because there's issues with my insurance. The American healthcare system is literally ridiculous. Yeah, the day I'm recording this, it's March 8th. Yes, it's March it's March 8th, 2023, which means we are about through the first quarter of 2023. Don't quote me on that. Alexa, when does the first quarter of 2023 end?
2023 will end on December 31st, 2023.
Okay, that wasn't helpful at all. I digress. But I feel like I started off the year extremely strong. I know I talked about this in like a couple of the videos I filmed, but I feel like I was getting in such a groove. I was working out, I was staying on top of my things, I was cleaning, I was cooking, I was eating 3 meals a day. I was on my invigorated girl energy. As per usual, the invigoration let up. There's only so much vigorating one girl can have, and I reached the end of my rope. I feel like largely this is like what always happens is I get really sick fairly early on in the term, and it just kind of like throws off everything for me. Also, like, don't kill me that I'm touching it to my skin. I know it's like not the best, but just kind of reached the end of my rope, and I feel like things kind of like started to fall apart more from there. I just had a like couple of really rough weeks, and I found myself kind of thinking about the future, and also had this like job that I was like not working for that I like was pretty sure I was going to get, like fell through, and just thinking about the future because I just finished my last day of classes of winter term, which marks my second to last quarter at Dartmouth being done. I only have the spring, and just based on how fast the winter went, like graduation is going to be around the corner, which is just such like a weird feeling. And yeah, normally my depressive episodes of the term happen a little earlier. It's normally around like week 2 or week 3, but I would say this time it was probably more like 5, like about halfway through the term is when I just started feeling down. I actually started crocheting, which I don't know if I've talked about in my videos. I literally can't remember because of all the footage I have that I can't edit because I can't access it. But yeah, I started crocheting this term about like almost 2 months ago, and it's been so fun. And that has at least been like the light of the term throughout it all, that instead of just like scrolling mindlessly on TikTok, I am spending that time crocheting, still using it as a mode of avoiding the things I need to do, but it's way more productive of a mode. And I feel like just focusing on creating more has been super good and like beneficial for me too. I also took a podcasting class this term, and it was like so wonderful. I find that the classes at college that really like shape me and inspire me the most are ones that are a little more like unorthodox, ones that are really more creative and require you to think outside of the box rather than like a typical like STEMmy way. And I love those. I feel like they're way more applicable to the real world and like gaining real skills. And yeah, I never really considered audio other than maybe making a podcast or doing some sort of like talking as I do on here. But I feel like now I'm like, maybe I'm considering like the possibility of audio as a career after I graduate, which is something I never really thought about. One thing that's been really fun this winter and the part of 2023 is I feel like I've really been experimenting with fashion more, and I made a pact for myself to pretty much only buy secondhand, which I have been doing. I don't know if I bought, oh, well, I guess like the Durf Avenue stuff I got for my birthday, that's the only stuff firsthand that I've purchased. Everything else has been kind of like vintage, secondhand pieces, which has just like really inspired my wardrobe a lot more, which has been like super fun. I have gotten really into Whatnot, as I talked about in my last video, and honestly that's kind of been stressing me out just with the whole economy kind of going to shambles, not having a job after graduation. I'm like, I need to be way more mindful of my money and how I'm spending, and I'm like not being the best at that, and that's just like really stressful. Yeah, and so I've had like a couple moments of like panic, financial panic. And I think the fact that like I'm graduating and it's giving recession era, that's not good for the soul. Like that's not eating in the way I would hope to be. But I just like, for one, completely changing gears, but kind of talking about my like quarter at school in general, is I feel like I've really outgrown Dartmouth's social scene. I just really feel like with everything, I'm like, I'm just too old for this, and it's not what I'm interested in. And that's kind of tough because I think Dartmouth can be a really isolating place. People really just like to act like they are effortless. That's the biggest thing here. Like, people are exceptional, they're involved in a lot of really interesting things, they're probably academic weapons who are like sneaky really smart, but they're still able to like party, they're always down to have a good time and somehow have a 4.0 GPA, which is like, that's just like, actually it's not possible. And it's this fake thing that you're working towards, that everyone tries to keep this facade of just nonchalance, and that's really tough when you're a girl who works hard. I feel like all the things I do, like, it takes effort. Like, I'm just not an effortless girl, I'm an effortful girl. I also think like with that, people, it's a very like work hard, play hard environment. One thing I've been thinking a lot about in the beginning of this year is my relationship with substances and drinking. I'm 23 and did not really drink at all until I was older, and Dartmouth has a big drinking culture, and it's just been kind of like interesting to evaluate the things like at this age that we just kind of have culturally accepted as normal. Like, I feel like a lot of young people are like, oh yeah, like I'm blacking out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I don't know, like part of me has always just looked critically to it, but I think I have been thinking even more about that, particularly as I work to improve my depression and just work on like mental health in general. Like, the effects that drinking has and kind of just being caught up in those social scenes have is not the best. And so that's like definitely something I've been thinking about. And in that like vein, I've spent a lot more time at home crocheting, which has been so fun, and just trying to remind myself that like I am fun and worthy on my own, and also like I don't have to partake in the things that like other people are partaking in. My relationship with running and like having to leave the team, it was the Ivy League heptagonal championship about like 2 weeks ago, and it was hosted on campus. And for those of you that don't know, it's essentially the conference meet. So all NCAA, all the Ivies are in the Ivy like sports conference, and you just kind of have a meet between all of you guys. And it's kind of like a bigger deal. And yeah, it's kind of like the event of the season, other than like if you're going to nationals and stuff. And I had been looking forward to this meet since my freshman year, but obviously now like I can't run. It's like been hard to grapple with the fact that it's like it hasn't been my decision, and I feel like I'm someone who really likes to control my life. I like to feel like I'm in control, and having something that was like so important and pivotal to me and having it stripped from me in a way that like I couldn't decide has been tough. I actually filmed like a sit down podcast-esque video about that, and I almost uploaded it and I didn't. And you know what? Maybe I will do that. I was gonna title it in my Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde era. I feel like I'm like living between two truths. I'm like living as two different people, which is not giving fun. Not giving fun at all. That was just like a whole host of emotions because I just really wanted to like cheer on my teammates and be like so happy for them, while also just being like incredibly like sad. And I don't know, it's just weird to kind of have an event that you've been thinking of like for so long come and go, and you're just kind of like watching it from the outside. It's a weird dissociative experience. And like my former coach was there, and like a lot of alumni people I ran with, which was just like nerve-wracking in general. I think a big thing I struggle with is people pleasing. I need to remember to stop talking when I'm rumbling. I struggle with people pleasing and have like a lot of social and performance anxiety, and so this was like the perfect storm of things that would like make me anxious. And the week leading up to it, I was giving nervous wreck. It ended up being like okay, it was fine. Not the best weekend in the world, but it came and went, and it's kind of good just to like know that I conquered it. That sounds so dramatic, but it really is like a conquering of sorts. And it's important to celebrate ourselves in whatever capacity. With that experience is really solidified the fact that grief is not linear, and grief can happen for multiple things and multiple times in your life. So in the same way, when you have a breakup, you might be grieving the relationship or the person that you did know, the life that you imagined, and also like moving on from phase of life to phase of life. There is a sort of grieving that comes with things that are just like really pivotal to our personalities and like impactful to our lives. And for me, like running was a huge part of that. And so yeah, I don't know, it's been interesting to kind of like dissect that and really like take the time to sit with it, and also like honor my feelings and just realize like it's okay that this sucks and that this is hard and that it's taking a long time. I feel pretty dramatic, but I don't know. I'm just trying to like give myself like love and grace, and whatnot. But the other day I created a Substack. I haven't posted anything yet. I kind of want to. I've appreciated this so much because ultimately I am doing it for myself. Like I feel like my friends are like, oh, like are you gonna post it like on your Instagram bio? I mean, I have an Instagram that's like public, that is the one that's linked in these in the show notes, or not show notes, in the description box. And I haven't linked it there, or let alone like my public one, which I have not posted on in a year, almost exactly. And I like could, but I don't want to. I kind of like having this for me, and if people find it, people find it. And I've been like spreading it through word of mouth and like telling friends and whatnot if it comes up naturally in conversations. But it's just really like special to have something like sacred. That sounds so dramatic, but I feel so free to be me, and like ultimately my videos aren't being seen by like a lot of people. A lot of the views are myself, and that's like okay. It's just at the end of the day, it's like, it's really like, it's for me. This is something I've always wanted to do, and this is something like I love doing, and I've just been like too afraid to take that step off the ledge and actually do it. And the fact that I did it this time and I've stuck to it is huge. That's like huge for me. I've literally been thinking about making videos since I was in elementary school, since I was like 9 or 10. That's how long I've been watching like beauty YouTube videos and like fashion people. And I always just kind of like got down on myself because I was too afraid of like what other people think. And like, don't get me wrong, I still very much am afraid of what other people think, but ultimately, like, I know I'm making stuff that like I'm proud of, and it's for me. It's to document a certain time in my life, and like if people want to watch that, like absolutely love that. But if they don't, like, that's okay too, you know? I'm just trying to remind myself that. But I would love to like cultivate a community of like-minded people. I feel like if you know me in real life, I am very much just, I like to goss, I like to gab, I'm such a girl's girl, love fashion, all that type of stuff, and love dissecting the meaning and nature of the world. And that's no one particular niche, I guess you could say, but like, why do I have to funnel myself into a niche? Like, why can't I be a liberal arts individual? And by liberal arts individual, I mean, can't I be multifaceted? Like, we are not a monolith. We are not just one thing. We're multiple. This is getting really meta. But I think it's been fun to dabble around, like be more creative and artistic. I interviewed this really cool lady. I'll link her Instagram down below. But she sells vintage jewelry and she's an artist, and she actually dropped out of medical residency during her 3rd year. So after like 7 years of training to become a doctor, just decided, nah, this isn't for me. And we had like such an interesting like conversation. And one thing that she kind of like talked about is like her need and drive to create, and how she feels sick or she doesn't feel like herself if she's not using that more like artistic and creative side of herself. And that like honestly like really resonated with me. And afterwards we talked a lot about, you know, being an individual and how it's hard to feel like you're one of the first people forging a different path, but that it's important because it gives other people the jurisdiction and the confidence like to go after that themselves, which I thought that that was like very beautiful, very special. And it's been something I've been thinking about a lot too. And I feel like I've been like filling that drive through writing, making videos, crocheting, just kind of like having these like new hobbies, because I think that drive to create was fulfilled by running in a way. I know like running isn't necessarily like an art, but it isn't an art in generic sense of the word, but it did fill an element and niche of creativity for me that has been like stripped away. I also used to sing. I was in 2 choirs. I was in jazz choir and chamber choir. I'm just like spacing out and just like piling on the mascara. You guys are probably like, stop. It's also like so old, like not so old, it's just kind of like dried out. So I feel like I'm like But anyways, yeah, I was in chamber choir, which is like men's and women's voices, and then jazz choir, and did voice lessons and competed as an individual. And that was such a huge part of my life too, but I kind of like dropped all of that like for running in college. Like that was like my main two priorities were to be a student and to be an athlete, to be a student athlete. And to kind of like lose all those things I felt in one and lose my kind of like rooting force has been interesting. And I'm 23 now. I turned 23 in January at the beginning of this year. And so it's been interesting to kind of like soak in like those feelings of aging, which has always been something that scares me. And also just kind of like rewriting the timeline and expectations of life that I had for myself. I think we know from the pandemic, like we can't plan for things to happen, like life to happen in certain ways. And we kind of just have to like embrace it with open arms and just be open. And that's been like a very tough lesson to learn. Once I kind of like fall out of my routine to be like, well, this is it, like nothing more I can do here, like might as well just like fully give up. And I think it's like important to remember like you can have a reset button anytime you want. Like it doesn't have to be the beginning of the year, it doesn't have to be like the beginning of a month. Like time is kind of arbitrary in a sense, and you can kind of like create your own timeline for yourself, and that's a pretty like a hard realization to like stomach. And yeah, I know I talked about this earlier. I'm gonna talk more again, but I've been having so much fun experimenting with fashion. It's been like so rewarding and so fun. And I feel like I've had some like funkier outfits that maybe might not be everyone's cup of tea. Like I was kind of giving Miss Frizzle sometimes, but I like filmed some OOTDs for a bit of them. So maybe I'll do like a what I like wear. You stopped recording. I'm like, what was I even? To paint a picture of like my crochet obsession, this is what I'm looking at. Alpaca and mohair. Like just in places that they shouldn't be. Ooh. How about a little plumping? Oh, well now my lips are gonna be all minty and I need to finish my culture pop. I'll probably do like a college like what I wear in a week, I suppose. I think that would be fun. I like doing the fashion videos because it kind of like inspires me to think like more intentionally and like be more creative with the things that I have in my closet. Oh, another big thing is I downloaded this app called One Sec, and essentially it tries to help you like limit your social media use, and it has been successful in that. And I feel like I've shifted from short-term content, i.e. TikTok, to long-form content, i.e. YouTube, which has been great. I mean, it's still a form of like content and enjoyment. Guys, I had something in my teeth the whole time and you didn't tell me. Rude. I forgive you. That's been like really good for my brain and my attention span too, I think. Because before I feel like I would be like watching YouTube and scrolling on TikTok. Like girl, it's too much. And I really feel that like TikTok destroys your attention span at all. So it's been nice to kind of like shift to other things and just be like consuming more like more mindfully consuming. Like I think on YouTube I have more choice as to like which videos I like watch and like what I want to see, as opposed to this like endless loop of nothingness. I don't know, but it also is tough because I feel like TikTok allows you to have a much broader reach, which like whatever, that would be sick, but ultimately I can't just like post on there. Like I get lost in like the TikTok K-hole, which I did this morning. So I was like, oh, I should post, and then I spent way too much time, and now I'm procrastinating, and now it's almost 1 p.m. and I'm meeting with my professor at 2 and I have to make all these changes. Yeah, I don't know, sorry, this was kind of like a all over the place video. not really too much of a point to it other than kind of like chit-chatting, I suppose, talking about life. But yeah, if you want to talk about anything at all, always comment. My comments are always open and I will respond to you because no one comments. Oh my god, also, speaking of like the channel, I got my first subscriber that I don't know. And shout out you. Whoop. I immediately like texted my boyfriend. I was like, oh my god, me when I'm famous? No, but it means a lot that people are like finding it and viewing it. And my most recent video just got like over 100 views. The funny thing is like I'm going back and like watching them. Do other people do that when you're like trying to see like how I'm perceived by other people? But that was like, ooh, 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 ooh. Like, I don't know. I think it's like so easy to be like, oh, 1 million this, like 100,000 this. But like 100 people is like a lot of people. In social psych, we've been learning about the sizes of people's like social circles. Most people's I see inner circle, it's like 5 or 6 people. So that's a span. That's like way more of an influence than you would have in your life. I literally can't. I'm in my wrinkle era. I'm starting to get wrinkles and I like, that's a whole other thing, aging. Maybe I'll do like a video talking about that. If anyone has like things that they want me to talk about, like let me know. Comment and like and subscribe. That helps apparently. But ooh, can you imagine if like I blow up all of a sudden and then I don't have to get a normal job? Just kidding, that's not gonna happen. Thank you guys for joining me chatting. This was all over the place, but so is life, so is me. I'm really just showing you authentic versions of me, just spilling everything that's going on in my head. So that was a good productive study break, but ultimately it's finals. I gotta go. So love you all, talk to you later. Be kind and gentle to yourself. That's my parting advice for today. And that's my advice to myself. Be kind and gentle to yourself. All right, love you guys. Guys, I'm back. My room is messy. Don't judge me. I'm just a girl. All this talk about crochet made me want to put on one of my own creations. This is the first thing I ever made, like fully completed other than the little swatches and stuff. And it's kind of fun. I don't know, yeah. I feel like all the crochet stuff I'm making, I'm like, I don't know if I normally gravitate towards it, but because I put my own blood, sweat, and tears and hours of time into it, I want to. This is made out of 100% merino wool yarn. It was on sale at the like local yarn store. Such a little sleigh. I love this color too. It's like such a me color. I don't know how I feel about this like this under it. I wish I had like, I don't own like a long tank top, but I feel like a longer tank top would like be the vibe under this, so I wouldn't be showing as much midriff because I'm not really feeling midriff today. I need to eat and I need to finish my podcast before I meet with my professor. You said that I'm really fucking boring. Well, that's rich coming from you. Okay, better, whatever. If it looks bad, no it doesn't. Do you ever just do your laundry and like the effort of doing your laundry was too much, so then you don't put it away and then you just have this pile of laundry that you have to sift through? Bye. I really am too much sometimes. Oh, I didn't spray. I'm just gonna sign off now, or else I'm gonna keep gabbing. Bye. Love you guys. And if you watched this whole time, you're bestie. Like, you're bestie. It's been a shitty year plus, and this has been bringing me a lot of joy. So thank you. Thank you for watching. If you do. Okay, bye.